Hello.
Hi.
John got a call from his boss as soon as we sat down, so he'll be in a
Oh,
second.
classic.
That's okay. I think you'll have to bring him up to speed.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hi, you can call me Eli.
Yeah.
I'm going to be your game master for today. Really looking forward to sharing Savage World with everybody.
Thank you, Eli.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeehaw.
Let's start with a small introduction to the system because nobody's played SWADE, the Savage Worlds Adventure Editions, before, and also for at least half of you, you've never used Foundry before. So you should be able to find your character and click on them so that they have an orange border around them. Let me know, just be like, yeah, when you do it. Or in the chat, you can type anything in the bottom right under where it says public role, and your character will say it. So if you can actually type in and say here, hail, something like that, maybe your character's name, happy to be here, I'll know you're here when I see your character say something.
Under public role, yeah?
Yeah, that bigger box. So hard-coded must have been projecting that voice through his quadcopter.
Yeah, looks like it.
Just waiting on Chris. Crystal Chris. I'm sorry that we have a character who is a big crystal man because we have a player whose real name is Crystal.
Wow.
Crystal, I swear I didn't think about that when we started this.
I liked that the big crystal man's name is Chris because it reminds me of Ben Grimm. He doesn't really call himself the Thing. You know, that's what everybody else calls him.
Alright, once you're in, go ahead, click on your character, and in the chat message, say something to say your character is here. And Lee, try to click on hard-coded again and do it again so that it's your character saying and not Daisy. That's
Okay.
better. I don't think... Oh yeah, that worked. The Red Knight said it. Cool. So I'm going to move on without John. Sorry, John. You'll catch up. No, this is really complicated. Often, it's very important to make sure that your token is selected. That way you're moving the right thing. Some of you have more than one token because you've got a little minion with you. Pyra, for instance, can summon a little flame wisp as part of her powers. And so just whenever she uses that summon ally power, I'll pull that token in and it should be no problem. After you have your token selected, you might want to target somebody. To the west here, there's a training robot. If you click on that, it should put corners on it. Or you can mouse over and hit T and it will still put corners on it, and you can select that way. Everybody, go ahead, select the training robot, and then double click on your character to open the character sheet. On the top of that sheet, there's a pop-out option. I suggest you do that so you can just like have the character sheet in one window and the game in the other one. And then I tried to put your most commonly used things in your quick access. You might find that you end up making a bunch of agility or vigor or spirit saves or trait rolls. So you might want to pull those into your hotkey, but all of your quick access options, I suggest you pull them to the bottom of your screen where it says 1, 2, 3 up to 0, so that you can just use a single number press to activate that action.
I forgot how you get your character sheet again.
Double click on your token, or on the top right where it says like the speech bubble, double cross swords, a map, and then like a little very basic person. In that basic person is all the actors. You should be able to find your character sheet in there.
There we go. All right.
So there's usually more than one way to do stuff in Foundry.
And then, how do you make it its own thing again?
If you click on the left side of the quick access where there's like an icon, like a red icon, you can pull that down to your hotkey menu on the bottom.
Okay.
to
know that.
increase the likelihood of animations working, I just made it so that it's going to basically animate as many times as possible. I had some trouble with some of like the templates that didn't really seem to want to do it every time, so some of them will be inconsistent, but otherwise, we'll need to move your character into range for stuff before you do things, because at the moment, you can punch somebody from across the screen, and that's just like a glitch, but you shouldn't actually be able to do it until you're next to them.
Unless that's your power.
Unless that's your power, like a punch should not be so far, but like a laser gun, very easy.
Well, unless you're stretchy.
I was about to say, unless you're Plastic Man or Mr. Fantastic, then yes, you should be able to punch someone across the room. Where's the practice robot?
So it's on the left here.
Roll out a little bit.
It's the bigger training robot.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you did that too. How do you scroll out?
If you're using a trackpad, it's gonna be either pinch or like anti-pinch.
Oh, okay, got it. There. Oh, there it is. Let's see. I don't know if the knight has any. We gave the knight, or I gave the knight any ranged.
Everybody, go ahead, try and attack the training robot. Good, Red Knight's in range. Chris is too far to successfully do the clobber, and also, Matt, you didn't target him. You need to click him or mouse over and hit T. I find that the T, I have more success with the T than the mousing over, and than clicking.
I was gonna say, because I 100% clicked him.
Yeah, the mouse over and T just works better for me. You can also, in the top left, there's the token controls. The square corners is select code tokens. Underneath that, the bullseye is select targets. That one also I have success with. Just you need to make sure you go back to select tokens, otherwise you can't move around anymore.
Alright,
There you
and
go.
how
It's
exactly do I attack?
Most people have more than one way to attack. Everybody has an unarmed attack. In the case of hard-coded, you have a laser SMG.
Ooh.
And I mean, physically for Foundry, what am I pressing to attack?
So in your character sheet, you should see the quick access on your front page.
Mm-hmm.
And then in those, probably at least one is going to be a laser SMG. You also have a rapid fire option, which I put in there. And I tried to make it so that you can use your SMG, you use the pistol off of Daisy. That might work. So sometimes when you're controlling Daisy, you might need to click. I see that Johnny B. Quick is wounding himself, just for fun.
Why am I not seeing it?
And again,
Here it is. Quick access.
I
Got it.
suggest you click on the icon on the left of your abilities and then bring it down to your hotkey
I
menu
see.
just to make it a little bit easier. And now I see that Angelite is playing with the different effects.
Alright, I got a raise. What does that mean in terms of roll?
Good question. Is John actually here now? Because I didn't want to get into like the basics until I can get everybody here, because I don't want to explain it twice,
No, I understand.
So I'm just giving like generally how to navigate and use your character sheet, and then I'm going to explain like the fundamentals of it. Wait, you guys can feel free to click around your character sheets, beat up this training robot as much as you want.
Yeah, I'm setting up my my quick access.
Where's hard coded?
But I'm just below the robot to the south.
Ooh.
Wow.
I fixed that animation for the laser sword. So when you do damage, it's going to swing it around. John, can I get a verbal confirmation of your presence? Or is this Crystal playing on his device?
Do they communicate in any way that they're...
Hey guys, yeah, we're on. We're just trying to figure this out a little bit. I just logged in a little later.
So, you don't need to figure it out on yourself. It's fine to play with it, but I'm going to give people a tutorial.
Okay.
Alright, cool. So everybody's here?
Yep, yeah, Crystal's here too.
Awesome.
Holy
So,
shit.
I'm going to take it from the top, and we're going to bring it down to your specific characters. This is Savage Worlds, an indie game based on many different dice systems. So, the basic idea is that the average person can roll a d4 in most of their traits, where a 4 is the target number. So most people succeed 25% of the time. On any of the dice, and in most role-playing games, when you have a die, you just refer to it by D number, where number is the number of sides it has. So D4 is a 4-sided die, D6 is 6-sided that we've all seen plenty of. So most people roll a D4. If any die you roll hits the highest number, it aces, and it's going to be rolled again, and the aces can explode continuously. Anytime you get 4 over the target number, that's a raise. Most effects only benefit from 1 raise, but damage can have as many raises as it has, and some other effects also have unlimited raises, but generally it's 4, 8, and then your character did the best possible. Your characters are not average. Your characters are wild cards. So at the same time, whatever you roll for your actual trait, you're going to roll your wild die, which is a d6. So, except for damage, you're always going to be rolling your trait, which could be between a d4 and a d12, plus a d6. You take the better of the two. Everybody following me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
So to control yourself, you can click on your token and drag it. And you can also click on your token and use the W, A, S, and D commands to move it around. When you click and drag, it should do a measurement. Most of your characters can move 6 inches, which translates to 12 yards. Every inch, every square in these maps is going to be 2 yards in distance. Please don't be too disturbed that this game is imperial measurement focused. It happens to be what it is. We're going to be using feet and pounds and yards for most instances. When we get to the map, the first map at least, the cruise ship, there's going to be a number of stairs that you guys can actually click on to move between different scenes. So I think it's going to be a little bit more fluid, so that people don't need to be on the same scene at the same time. It should move your token as well, so long as you have your token selected. When you double left click on your token, that opens your character sheet. You can flip through there. It can tell you a bunch of things about your character. If you have any questions and maybe I didn't repopulate one of your powers or edges with something that gives a detail, let me know. I'll see if I can just display it for you real fast. If you right click on your token, that opens up the HUD, and that heads up display, it's got 8 directions, so you can rotate your token so it's looking in different directions. I see that Johnny Quick is playing with that right now. On the top left, there's also a little fire, like a little torch there. Everybody in this game has a smartphone, so you can use that as your flashlight app, basically. And so if you right click, you should be able to turn your light app on and off. That's not going to matter for the first part, it's going to be in broad daylight, but later on, if you go into dark buildings, underground, things like that, you might want your character to turn their flashlight app on. On the bottom right of the HUD is a combat option. So now I'm going to create a encounter. Sorry, Chris did it. I'm going to start a new one. Chris, go ahead and re-enter. Everybody, enter your combat stance. That's
Oh.
right click in the bottom right.
How do you move the map? I seem to be doing it on.
That's
Right
click
click and drag.
and then drag.
You can also pop out the combat tracker by right clicking the cross swords at the top right.
Okay, there we go. That's how it's doing it.
And yeah, now on that column on the right, there's a bunch of options. You guys are mostly going to be using the chat messages and the combat encounters. You might use the actors of the items once in a while, but mostly chat messages is all you're going to need. Combat encounters. This game uses dice for all your checks, but for initiative, it uses a deck of playing cards. And so everybody would pull one card from the deck. In combat encounters, either on the top left, you should see what's called the combat carousel with all the characters here. If you click on yours or mouse over it, you should see this red die. Click on that red die, and that should draw your initiative card. So because it's not letting you guys roll, instead I'm going to have it so that I'm going to deal the cards to you. I think that's just going to be faster anyway.
Ooh. It's a pretty unique system, drawing from a card for initiative.
The older Savage Worlds games were even more cards based, and so you had like magic spells based on pulling from the cards, and it was like so flavorful. It felt really good.
Very unique.
All right, so now everybody's in initiative. This goes from 2 to ace, and if somebody has the same card as another person, then it goes in reverse alphabetical for the suit. So that would be spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs would be first to last. So the first person today is going to be Axel Stone. Currently, Axel Stone is not in his enraged form.
Ooh, now I see the combat
Oh, there
carousel.
it is.
Maybe we had to enter combat.
Okay.
I don't see my character in the initiative at all.
Maybe you didn't right click and enter the combat stance, but I'll do it for you. Oh wow, I don't know how you got out. So the way you got a 198 is because you drew a joker. Jokers are wild. That gives everybody on your team a Benny. I'm gonna go for Bennies right now.
Crazy.
Ooh.
These are hero points. These allow you to re-roll. You can spend them to overcome the shaken condition, which is a very common combat condition to suffer from that prevents your character from making any actions. You can spend a Benny after your recovery check, so really like hold on to it until you're like, oh man, like I gotta spend it so I can act. You can also spend it to soak. So once your character is dealt damage, you need to spend a Benny to make a soak roll, which is based off of your vigor, one of your attributes. The last thing that everybody can do is you can modify the scenario. You can spend a Benny and say, I had the money in my pocket the entire time. Especially if your character has an edge like rich or filthy rich, you're going to have a lot of money, and you can just say like, oh, boom, like even though your suit has no pockets, you had the credit card out or something like that. Bennies, you can also spend to be like, there's a chandelier on the ceiling that I'm going to cut. It's going to fall on the enemy. So Bennies are more for creative input. Some of your characters have super science or super sorcery, which allows you to spend a Benny to use any power. If you're like, I want an effect that's not on my character sheet, spend a Benny, and you'll figure something out, like your character pulls out a gadget or casts a never before seen spell. On the other hand, everybody can spend a Benny to do a power stunt, and that allows you to do a different power than you have that's within the trappings, within the flavor of your current power set. So for hard-coded, if he finds out that suddenly he needs to do like an electric shock, I think an electric shock is within the realm of a cybermancer. Like if he's out of ammo on his pulse gun, if his drone is down, he really needs to like pull out the last of his stops, and he fries his own neurosystem. In order to do that, spend a Benny. You can do it for 3 rounds. That's if it's an active effect. If it's a passive effect, like you want to create like a force field, you want to summon a wall, that lasts for 5 rounds. Any questions so far?
I'm sure I'll have questions as we go on, but it'll all come together.
hard-coded spent one of his bennies. So, Lee, why don't you hit Alt, hold Alt, and then hit the B button.
Okay.
So if you just hit B regular, you're going to spend a Benny. And we might use that if, like, whenever you're using that, like, special power kind of thing, changing the narrative, anything like that. If I reward you a Benny, hit Alt and hit B, and then you can earn a new Benny. So, Johnny, be quick, if you would like to hit Alt and hit B to get that Benny back, because you didn't spend it on anything. And now we're going to do one round through the combat carousel. And I'm going to say the thing I say at the beginning of every session, and we're going to start the story. Sound good?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Brian,
Too many bennies.
the Red Knight is first.
Hey,
You are exactly 6 inches away from the training robot. It's a free action to move your pace. If you want to move further than your pace, it's a free action to run. All you do is you roll a d6, and then your character can move that number in addition to 6. So it's a free action to move into place. You've targeted him, and it seems like you're probably going to hit him with an attack.
yes.
You hit him, and now you can hit that training robot hit button. There's the animation, and you do damage. So this robot has a wound, and it's shaken. I'm going to spend one of my bennies so that he can roll vigor to soak that damage. He does soak the damage, so he takes no effect at all because he got the success. And then, if the next person's in the turn, that would be Axel Stone.
Yeah.
Axel Stone can enter a rage form as a limited free action. Once per round, everybody can do one limited free action. However, you get an unlimited number of regular free actions, which is stuff like talking, but you can only do every free action once per turn. So, would you like to enter your rage form?
Heck yeah.
This costs you just the limited free action. If you ever want to leave your raged form, you need to make a spirit check. Also, because your character is powered rather than super powered, I can just decide that you enter rage form because you see something that pisses you off because you took damage, something like that.
Yeah. Alright.
As a limited action, could you guard against one of his attacks? Like he brings his left sword up in a defensive stance against someone else?
That would be a regular action to enter a defensive stance.
Okay.
So in order to like run further than my thing, I would just do this.
Yes, and because you're in raged form, your raged form is a better runner than other people. So he's going to get a d8 rather than the 6. So he got, it looks like 9 to his pace, because he's also
Yep.
faster than normal.
And that's free, so I can also just straight up hit the guy.
Just out of curiosity, do you change? Like, is this the Hulk or
He does not look any different whatsoever. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
I'm
got
not-
a bad face, but
I'm wearing a helmet, so. Yeah, he's not like super strong. He's like more Captain America strong.
where have I heard that before?
and so that is your action. Yeah, it was a nice run. I'm going to mention, I should have mentioned this when you rolled your rolling die, which you didn't need because you're pretty fast in the first place. But when you run, it puts a -2 on your all your trait actions
right.
for the rest of the turn. And when we get to Johnny Quick, I'm going to talk about multiple actions. But now it's Pyra's turn. What would Pyra do if she was fighting a training robot in front of a crowd of civilians?
No idea.
And you double click your character, you see the character sheet. On the quick access is all of your most often used abilities, those powers right there. Maybe one of those strikes out to you. For your character, elemental manipulation is your workhorse. That's what your character is going to be doing most of the time, which includes throwing a little bit of fire.
Okay.
Could you walk me through it? This is very new for me.
You have them selected, and then in your quick access on the left side, there should be like a little red icon there. I didn't have time to change everybody's icons to make them pretty, but if you click that red icon on the left of the quick access for that, then it should give you an option, and then in there you can hit your spell casting roll. For every other superhero, their powers are based off of the focus ability. Your character is a super wizard, so she uses spell casting instead. I see you're spinning your character, but is there any way I can guide you towards using your spell?
Oh, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could guide me, that'd be great.
Double click on your character token.
Oh.
That's the character sheet now. You see it?
Everything disconnected for me for a second.
Ooh, it booted you for using your character sheet. I'm going to skip your turn for now. We'll come back to you when it's necessary.
Yeah, that'd be great.
John, you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. It might not be any better, but yeah.
We can at least start the troubleshooting for your part. Your character
Okay.
is a speedster, so he removes some of the penalties for multiple actions. Everybody in the game can do up to 3 actions per turn. That does not include movement. Movement is a free action. Your character can move 45 inches per round. Most people can move 6. You're a speedster. You're very fast.
Holy mackerel.
And he can accelerate too. So like if he moves in a straight line, then it goes to 90, and then it doubles until he gets to the speed of sound. Anyway,
I'm jealous.
his character ignores the penalties for multiple actions. How it is for most people is for every action in addition to the first one is a -2, so it caps out at a -4. He can do 3 actions per round, no problem. That can
Hey, nice.
that can include attacking. So it's your turn. What would you like to do?
What can I do? Where do I pull that up again?
If you double click on your token, that'll open your character sheet.
Okay.
And I named your unarmed strike Packed Knuckles because you've got like lead in your gloves. So you targeted your character, mouse over, and yeah, now you've got the training robot. Bring yourself next to the training robot, please. There you go. And now make that attack again. Your first one missed because his parry said you've got 2 more tries because you're a speedster. There's 2 more attacks with his Packed Knuckles. You're still not targeting him. You must have untargeted him. Mouse over. And again, his parry is higher than 5. Your third try.
Oh.
So we have an ace on your 12, and then 18 is a hit. You can hit the raise.
Where's the raise?
On the right is the chat menu. If it minimized, you might see it on the top right.
Okay, I see that.
So your character is very fast, but not the strongest person. You're definitely stronger than the average person, but you were not able to punch through its hard steel. How's Crystal doing?
Okay, cool.
I would say skip me still. It's like not loading properly. I don't know why.
It is Angel Light's turn.
All right. We have spectators. You said, like civilians.
You do. If this was a movie, it would be like an epic beginning where you guys are like in this heated combat against this training robot, and then after the combat, when we like start the actual stories and the credits are done, then you guys are standing on the cruise ship. It's like a lot less grandiose than it actually is.
All right. Angel Light is gonna crouch down a little bit. His calves bulge, and he leaps into the air. His luminous wings extend, lifting him aloft about 20 feet in the air.
So
he's got 12 as his pace for flight.
I should mention that the upwards lift of your wings is limited to 2 inches per round. So you can go like 12
4 feet.
12 feet. 2 inches is 4 yards. So 2 inches, which is 4 yards.
Gotcha. Oh, 2 inches, not 12. Gotcha.
Which is 12 feet.
That's going to be really confusing.
The conversions are a little bit confusing, so we're going to keep things in inches.
Cool. So he's 12 feet
He's 12
in the
feet
air.
Yeah.
He's 12 feet in the air with his luminous wings spread around him. And he looks at the robot and says, "Behold the brilliance of my power! Luminous pulse!" And he's going to blast it with his ranged attack.
That's a hit, and actually your wild die did better than your trait die this time. So you
Look
get
at
a raise
that.
on that.
Okay. So I roll damage. Do I have to click anything special there or just regular?
Just
roll?
click on that raise and it will do it automatically.
Oh, I didn't hit raise.
No, like
Oh,
you hit the raise button.
I didn't hit the raise, but isn't there's a checkbox that says raise damage?
No.
Is that what it should have been hitting, or
in the
just
chat on the right side under your raised attack? It says training robot raise.
Uh-huh.
That's what you should click.
Oh, all right. Let me click that there. Ooh. Damn, that's a lot of explosions.
That is what it
Okay.
says. You hit him
Alright, so-
really hard.
So you said we can take multiple actions, but with a penalty?
And you need to declare that before you do any of your actions because it modifies every action.
Oh, so if I knew I wanted to attack it twice with my raise attack, it would be -2 on each of them.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. All right, I'll keep that in mind next time.
So I need to keep this combat going, so I need to spend a Benny. I get a Benny for every one of my players, and sometimes I have wild card villains as well. They get their own Bennies. Either way, I'm going to spend one of my Bennies to soak this. Training robot don't have any, but I do.
It's a very funny way of saying that.
That wasn't quite right, but I'm gonna take it. So he takes 1 wound and he is shaken. As he soaks a significant portion, 2 out of 3 of those wounds. And then it is the training robot's turn. At the beginning of the training robot's turn, it rolls its spirit. Everybody, at the beginning of your turn, if you're shaken, you roll spirit against the target number 4 to see if you remove the shaken trait, the shaken condition. So he can act. He did pass on his shaken recovery. Additionally, most people have wound penalties. For every wound you have, up to 3, this could be a -1 to your traits. That's automatic. You won't have to calculate that. Anyway, this robot is going to try to punch the Red Knight, who has a laser sword.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hit. Now, you would be taking 1 wound and be shaken. You have the option of spending a Benny. At the beginning of the session, you start with 3 Bennies. Because somebody drew a Joker, everybody got an extra Benny. So that incentivizes you to spend that Benny to roll soak. You see that on the right up there?
Alright, hold on a second. I hit Alt Benny. I hit Alt V, but nothing happened.
Oh no, where it says training robot unarmed, and on the bottom it says the Red Knight 1 wound plus shaken. To the right of that, you can click that button for roll soak.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's a nice explosion. It's so satisfying when it happens, and that cheat means you soak all of it.
So how I'm going to explain that is he came out to swing, and as he swings, the Red Knight brings up his sword, carries it down to the ground, and then looks like he's about to come up to take his head off.
Got it in an advantageous position. How's Crystal doing?
Crystal's doing better.
You ready to try your turn?
Sure.
Alright, so what would Pyra do?
I wanted to try the elemental manipulation. See what that does.
So that has a range of your smarts in inches. So you have a 12-inch elemental manipulation. You don't need to go right next to him.
Oh, I can be over here.
Yes, you can pull fire from your fiery aura because that's a part of your super nature. Your character is a fire wizard first, but because she's a wizard, she can actually cast spells from any element. You can move over there where this was your starting point, where I pinged. So then mouse over, no clicking, just hit T, and then let's try your elemental manipulation. You might have yourself targeted right now. There we go. Oh, untargeted. T him again. And now in your character, keep unteeing him. I feel like you tee him and then you click, but it's no click.
Is it teed now?
It's teed.
Okay. I feel like it's lagging, so I can't really see. Yeah. Alright. So he's targeted, and then elemental manipulation?
Yes.
And then that pops up with a couple of
and
things.
click spellcasting.
Okay.
That's a hit, and then in the main menu, on the right, you can hit the training robot hit one for damage. That is exploding damage indeed.
Nice.
Holy hell!
I don't have any bennies.
No, training robot don't have any bennies. Let me roll for it.
Do all foes start with a Benny for each player?
I start with a benny for each player, and I can spend that on any of my characters.
Is that per like scene or encounter?
That's per
or
session.
session? Gotcha.
My wild cards, my like super powerful enemies, they start with 2 bennies. He passes the 4. Oh, never mind, he doesn't. His D10 and his D6 are both 2. So he's going to take 2 wounds and he's shaken again. And that is Pyra's turn. Last up is Chris.
Alright, well, I apologize. I was trying to play around with my token, and I accidentally think I got rid of the little crystal red guy. But I'm just going to do a ranged attack, keep it pretty simple.
I brought him back. It's very easy for me.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good at least. Okay, my question is, there's like 2 button options, athletics and damage. Am I rolling athletics first and then damage?
So it sounds like you're trying to use your ranged attack.
Correct.
Athletics first.
Okay.
That's a hit, and then you don't need to open the menu. On the bottom right of the chat, training robot raise to do damage automatically. Because if you do a raise, that increases your damage. It's like you hit him extra hard. It's not a critical hit, but you hit him extra hard.
Gotcha.
And you did not pass his toughness.
Unfortunate.
Alright.
Wait, now I have 2 tokens.
Well, hopefully you won't when we change maps.
Okay, fair enough.
Any questions before we get to the beginning of this whole session?
Yeah, what about me?
If you didn't go, it's because you weren't in initiative.
Oh, I could have sworn I was.
You didn't right click yourself and enter the combat, so I'll reactivate it.
You said it's the I clicked the wrong bottom one. I see.
Yeah, this is your fault, Lee, not my fault.
Well, in that case, this is a perfect way to finish it because I could say I go last and it's a robot, so let's shut this down.
Yeah, so you have a number of robot-based powers.
Exactly. So I guess I'll use my electronics and just shut it down.
Not electronics. I mean, you can. Which power are you using under either your power section or your quick access?
Oh, machine control.
Yes. So target him machine control, and then you'll click electronics.
Gotcha. Let me just find it. Electronics, use skill. And then what?
Yeah,
Oh, there we
it's
go.
rolling.
Wow.
So you did hit him with the machine control power. So you are controlling this machine now. You have subverted its will.
All right. Well, let's initiate shutdown.
It just happens. This is like if you were mind controlling a person and you told them to go to sleep.
Oh, perfect. Then we're done.
We are thematically done with this combat.
Very nice.
Now I'll start this activating scene so that everybody can start loading it.